Hi everyone, Rose here, and I just want to make a video for National Coming Out Day and explain to all of you my story. When I was a little girl, I didn't have a lot of LGBTQ influences in my life. I didn't know any queer people. I didn't know the words until later on in my life. But I always had this kind of confusion with myself, and like I knew I didn't quite fit in with everyone else. When I was in elementary school and younger, I loved to play dress up, I loved to play with Barbies, and I also loved playing with trucks, and I really loved getting dirty and playing with the mud and lightsaber fights with sticks, and then later like real lightsaber toys. But I definitely always had this kind of like dichotomy inside me, like I had feminine and male characteristics that didn't quite make sense in my head yet. When I used to play make-believe, I loved to be like a Jedi princess or like a powerful fairy or like some type of like airbender or earthbender, but I always had this feminine sort of character that I would portray, and I would often choose different feminine names, but one name that I commonly stuck to was Rose. Throughout my schooling, I was bullied a lot for my effeminate characteristics and interests, but I did make a lot of friends who were mainly girls, and like growing up and going through puberty as a like male-bodied person, I didn't quite fit in with all the other girls, and like I was definitely excluded from like girl talk, and I was excluded from like puberty talks and sleepovers, and which is fair, like they didn't feel comfortable with what appeared to be a boy. One day I was just so down about myself, and I was just really upset that like I wasn't a girl. I didn't fit in with all of these girls, and I remember like breaking down. I was out in the middle of the field at recess, like all alone, and I started crying and I started praying, and I was like, God, I don't understand like why I'm not a girl. Like I fit in with them, like my life would be so much easier, like my girlfriends would include me more if I were a real girl. And that prayer wasn't answered until many years later, but it was very difficult and very confusing for me to process during that time. As I started going through puberty and started understanding my sexuality and attraction a little more, I was confused why, like the other people who presented as boys, I didn't have any sexual attraction to women. After watching a lot of YouTube videos of like Tyler Oakley and Ryan James Yezik and other gay YouTubers, I was like, oh, this is a thing. Like there's a word for like people who look like me, act like me, and who are interested in men. Like this makes sense. So the first person I came out to was my cousin. Her name is Sarah, and she's been my best friend since day zero. She we went to the country club, and I sat her down and I was like, Sarah, there's this person that I've been seeing, and it's kind of serious and new for me, but I really like this person and I wanted to tell you about them. And she was like, oh, who is she? Like, tell me about it. And like, well, I don't even think she said she. I think she knew that I was interested in men. So I think she was like, oh, who is it? Like, you know, like expecting me to like finally come out probably. And I was like, it's this guy. In the summer of 2010, I started telling all of my friends. Most people kind of already assumed, which made it really easy because they were like, oh yeah, cool, like, thanks for finally telling me. But when it came time to tell my family, I had a lot of anxiety and I wasn't fully prepared. I had done a lot of studying on how to come out and like how to prepare yourself, like what questions to expect your parents to ask you, and I started studying the Bible a lot because I was really nervous that my religious parents were going to condemn me to hell. And when they did find out, they found out under circumstances out of my control. Unfortunately, I wasn't the one who told them directly, but they did find out, and then we had a conversation about it, and they definitely asked me some questions that I thought were triggering or just inaccurate or silly, but we got through it, and I remember them telling me, like, we love you no matter what, we're just worried about your salvation, like, we're worried about what the Bible says and, like, what God believes, and we don't want our child going to hell. And that was really, really hard for me to deal with. I already had a lot of internalized shame and guilt for my sexuality. I was like, God, it does condemn me, I'm going to hell. And then after studying the Bible enough, I took it upon myself and I learned what it says, and I don't believe that the Bible condemns any queer identity, but I also don't think it matters. It was a positive outcome after years of conversations and arguments and crying and just talking through things. We've kind of just agreed on religion, that we disagree and we're just gonna drop it. We love each other too much to argue about it, and we get along as best as we can. Coming into college, I knew nothing about the transgender community. I found it very taboo, very awkward, kind of uncomfortable, but I knew that it was something I needed to educate myself on in order to be a better ally, because I was like, I am a part of the LGBT community. How can I better myself? And after learning a lot about it, it started to make more and more sense to me. I started questioning myself, like, could I disagree with, like, the binary, or do I not fit into this box or this box? And, like, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? Like, could I be agender? Could I be bigender? Could I be agender? And then I started questioning myself, like, could I be a woman? And then in choir I met a friend, a couple of friends who are trans, and they really helped me understand a lot of things. They were very open to questions, and they explained their own experiences and their own questioning, and I was able to relate with that and then kind of figure it out with some help of other people. I met a girl online who is trans. Her name's Emily. Shout out to you, girl. I love you. She's kind of like my trans mom. She definitely helped me just become the woman that I am today. And I decided to finally tell someone in my personal life that I am transgender. I am a woman. After hearing Laverne Cox speak, when I went to hear her speak, I broke down. I started crying, and I just couldn't handle it. When she was explaining her story, I was like, wait, are we talking about Laverne's life, or are we talking about my own life? Then afterward, I took my best friend at the time to coffee with me, and I was like, Kayla, shout out to you too, babe. I was like, can I tell you something? Like, I don't know how to say this, but, like, will you read something? And I had, like, written out kind of like a poem like coming out. It was like talking about me, like, seeing myself for the first time in the mirror and, like, experimenting with that, and then, like, looking at myself in the mirror and being like, I am a woman. This is who I am. And it was a really powerful moment for me. And then she broke down, I started crying, and then I just started telling people. And then to tell my family, it took like 4 months after I had already come out to all of my friends. It took me like 4 months to gain the courage to finally put together the right words. I sent an email kind of explaining the same story that I've just explained. It was really powerful. I got only positive responses, and while my anxiety told me, like, this is the worst thing ever, like, no one's gonna like you, you're gonna be disbanded, your family's gonna, like, judge you, like, I've only had basically really positive feedback. It's not been easy with everyone. Some people just don't want to talk about it. Some people don't address it, but are, like, totally fine. I think more than anything, it was important for people to see me in person, and just hang out with me and understand I'm the same person. I just look a little different, and I'm definitely much happier. Coming out is never easy. It's full of anxiety and fear, and I know I struggled with a lot of depression leading up to the times that I came out to people for the first time. but I always did it at a point where I was really prepared. Happy National Coming Out Day. If you are planning on coming out, good luck to you. I'm here for you. I love you. And just remember to try to keep a support group, keep someone with you, take care of yourself, and do whatever you need to do to make sure that you're at your best state. If you're too scared about the response of the people you're coming out to, I would suggest waiting until you're at a point where you're completely independent from them, where you're able to avoid them if you need to protect yourself, because it's important to put your own happiness first sometimes. When it comes to your safety and your mental health, it's okay to put yourself first. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you'd like. I'll see you all next time.